I want to talk about a way that you can increase your sales. So what I'm going to do is give you some of the same techniques that I use on my sales pages to increase conversions. And I know that when it comes to conversion optimization, there are these books and tutorials and courses that talk about like 200 different ways to increase conversions through optimization using cognitive bases and all that stuff. I'm not going to bother with any of that. I'm just going to give you the stuff that you need to know to put on your sales pages right now that will increase your sales really quickly. So the first thing that you need to do is address the problem, call it out. So whatever problem your audience or your ideal customer is facing, talk about it, highlight the problem, and then in the same breath almost offer a desired outcome. So we're not talking about the solution, we're talking about after the solution, the end result. So we make a big promise that, right, so what you're going to do is you're going to call out the problem that qualifies the audience, that qualifies your customer. So if they don't have that problem, they're going to bail, and that's exactly what you want. But if they do have that problem, they're going to continue reading. And then you're going to follow up with a promise that life is going to get better. And then you say how it's going to get better. So what their life will be like once you have solved that problem. So this creates an element of desire. So you've done two things there. So you've qualified them, and then you're pulling them in with almost like a hook. So they want that end result, so they're going to continue reading. Then you need to demonstrate proof. So you can tell them whatever you like, but it's kind of meaningless unless you can demonstrate that it's true. Because people have got the guard up, rightly so. You know, it's the internet, right? Anyone can say any kind of crap they want. So what you need to do is demonstrate proof. So you can do this in a couple of ways. That is to show the absolute end result. So you create the experience, what life looks like once this problem has been solved. So you can do that in a couple of different ways. The most obvious way is to just show a picture or some kind of visual representation of what life looks like after that problem has been solved. And don't use stock photos, don't mess around with anything that looks a bit fake or any of that stuff. You have to keep it real. So show absolute 100% proof that your method, your way works. Then you go into, next we need to increase the desire. So to do this, you tease a little bit of what's involved in achieving the results. So the best way of doing this is through storytelling. So what you should do is talk about your journey, or if you're using someone else's story, share that. So the story needs to do a few things. First of all, it needs to highlight the struggle, the obstacles that you faced in overcoming this problem. So this does something. This creates rapport and trust. That's essential. Once you have that rapport and trust, because when you identify the same problems and the same feelings, the same emotions, you have to use emotions in this stuff. But when you identify the same emotions that they are feeling, that's going to create an instant connection with you and them. And they'll be like, well, okay, that's how I feel. This guy knows how I feel right now. This guy experienced the same problem that I am in right now. He managed to overcome it. So this is the guy that I need to follow. So in your storytelling, you move on from overcoming these obstacles to now how you overcame those obstacles. So you talk about the journey and the problems that you encountered along that part of the journey and how you overcame them. And then you lead into the success, what life was like once you overcame that problem and the results you got. Not only that, not only the results, but the wider impact, the ramification of those results, how it really impacted your life and the life of your friends and your family. Talk about your family, talk about your friends, talk about their emotions as well, because people will latch on to that and they'll put them inside your story and they will imagine that it's their friends and family who are experiencing these thoughts and emotions. So you want to play to that a little bit as well. Then you need to increase the proof. So here we can use testimonials. Sure, we covered proof earlier, but we really need to amplify it. So what we do is we use social proof. Testimonials, so we'll get a quote from happy customers, that kind of thing, or video testimonials, put them on your page. And that is going to demonstrate that, people like your customer are experiencing positive things because they've purchased your product. So you want to demonstrate that in your sales page. Then you want to introduce the solution, which is going to be your product. And you don't just tell them what the offer is or what the product is and what it does. You want to use features and benefits. So feature is what it does. The benefit is why that's a good thing. So to communicate the benefits in a very quick and easy way for someone to just consume that information is to use bullet points. And in each bullet point, if you can, have 3 benefits per bullet point. And imagine your bullet points are like mini headlines. So they have to be catchy, they have to grab attention, and they have to move your prospect further along the journey, that decision-making process, to ultimately buying your product. So you list the benefits. Once you have that figured out and you know what you're doing with the benefits, then you have to move on to scarcity. So what we do here is we need to give them a reason to act now. So it's fine saying that this offer is available, whatever, but we need to give them, listen, how many times have you gone to buy a product or you've thought about buying something? I thought, okay, I'll come back and do that later. What happens? How many times have you completely forgot to go back and buy it, right? That's human nature, it's what we do. So what you need to do is overcome that. You need to give them a reason to buy right this very second. So for that reason, we use scarcity. And we say, either there is a special offer on and it's only available for the next couple of days or a couple of hours, and then it's gone. That offer is completely gone. Or we say there's limited stock available. So maybe there's only a handful of items left and they have to grab it now before all the stock runs out. Or you can offer additional bonuses if they act right now. So if they purchase within the next few minutes, they're going to get something extra. They're going to get a special bonus that no one else is going to get. So you need to give them a absolute very, very solid reason to buy now. And then we do price comparison. So what we do, this is quite cool because we can demonstrate the value of the product, but then we can offer maybe a discount. So you have to be aware of the laws of your country when you do this. So what I like to do is initially I will run the product for a set price, and then maybe later on I will change the price. So this works in conjunction with scarcity. So what I'll do is I'll have like an introductory price. So it's going to be cheaper. I usually give about 70% off. And then when that offer expires, the price increases. So you absolutely have to sell it at the higher price if you're doing this form of copywriting. So what you can do here is use the higher price to demonstrate the true value of the product. So I've tested this. Okay, so what I've done is I've put the lower price, like today's price, that's 70% off, higher. And then underneath that, the more expensive price. So like, 150 bucks today, but tomorrow it's going to be 500 bucks lower down. I lost conversions without realizing it. So what I did was I switched it. I put the 500 bucks higher up and then the 150 bucks lower. Conversions increased because that 500 bucks then it implies more value. So you want that higher on the page, higher than the discount price. And what happens then is they'll read that, they'll see that and say, oh, that's the true value. Because there's a cognitive bias that we tend to fall into. So the information that we see first is most important. So when we see the first price, that tells us that's the most important price. So you want to have the most expensive price first, and then the cheaper price second. And then to wrap up, at the very bottom of the sales page, what I like to do is tell them what if they don't buy? What happens if they don't buy this today? And what I like to do is remind them of the problem, and then I amplify the ramifications of that problem. So what happens if they continue to have this problem? What does their life look like 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road? What's going to happen to them, their family, their entire life if in 5 years' time they have not solved this problem? How bad are things going to get? And then I like to remind them of that and then say, hey, there is a solution. You can avoid all that if you just get this today. And then remind them of the offer, sum up that offer again. So that's like a very simple structure to use. You don't have to worry about learning 200 different cognitive biases when you use or employ this strategy. So if you found it useful, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and subscribe to the channel too if you want to get more of these kind of videos. Take care.